West Side, worldwide. Welcome to Story Time with OGLA Ron. Please don't forget to smash the like button, comments, and subscribe. Go to the website and buy the merch. Today, I'm going to be telling this story on one of the most dangerous prisons in the federal system in the United States, USP Atlanta. How did I get familiar with Atlanta USP? Actually, I left from Leavenworth and I went to USP Atlanta. And the second day I was there, I seen a guy get killed over $2. This is how dangerous the prison is. And to tell this story about Atlanta is I never been to Atlanta, and I end up going to Atlanta because I got into it, and they shipped me to Atlanta from Terry Hut, one of my second prison, the most dangerous prison down south. Uh, I end up arriving to Atlanta when I first got out of when I first was leaving Terry Hut. Terry Hut have a mainstream from Marion. This was before ADX. They would take you to Marion, then they would drop you off in Terry Hut. Then Terry Hut would send you to all over the country. But I ended up going to USP Atlanta. And when I got to Atlanta, I was in R&D with the guys, some of the guys from the Virgin Islands, and I ended up running into a guy named General. General was out of the Virgin Islands, Pasha, I think General, and there was another guy that used to fight against the Kennedys when the Kennedys was over there trying to take the land from them guys from the VI. And General had actually caught a body in Atlanta back in the days, and they ended up sending him back there after they cut all his dreads off and trying to discipline General because he wouldn't abide by none of their rules. And these guys was some tough guys, General and Pasha, and I think it was another guy. But anyway, to make a long story short, this is where I first ran into both of the Chaunceys, Monkey D, and they call Chauncey now Big Hits from Pasadena. But to talk about Pasha and his brothers, I noticed Pasha had the longest dreads I ever seen, and USP Atlanta, man, is a dangerous place because it's a lot of people there with religion, a lot of Muslims, DC, Christians, Cubans, and it was a melting pot there. I was there right before I got there. Was a guy walked out to Center Hall and to escape, and then they had built another entrance so people can go through so they wouldn't have to go through Center Hall. But you had a mixture of Florida, Miami, DC, Atlanta, and you had guys from that love Atlanta. You had guys that was owner of the strip clubs. You had Bojangles. You had all the guys that was there that was really, Diamond was there that really was big figures inside of the streets of Atlanta. But I really pretty much knew I was in Atlanta when they pulled up to the airplane and we got on the bus. And I had been down there to that old hick town, Terry Hut, and they didn't have no rap music, only on the weekends, 2 days a week, only on Saturdays and Sundays. So when I got to Atlanta, man, we didn't really know where we got off at. And when they put us on these buses, all you hear was Tony Braxton, Ludacris, La La, and oh man, I mean the music was dynamic. This is the home of So Def, Babyface, Face Records, Pebbles, a lot of the guys, man, that was really big in the music business, man. And man, as soon as we got on the bus, man, all you do was just take a deep breath and you just hear that Tony Braxton playing. You know you in some kind of place down south. Atlanta. So when we pull up to the prison, when we pull up, there's people waving at us, sitting on their porch, because I think Atlanta was built in the hood and it's overpopulated with black. So when you see all these people sitting right in the neighborhood, right on the porch, and you say, okay, and we pulled right up to the back of the Atlanta, and they let us out. And man, I didn't know Atlanta was that big. And we got there, man, and we start, communicating. And they had another unit where they kept all the guys. This is like in the middle of Atlanta is more like a melting pot of like if Africa would be a trade for everybody from all different prisons come there to go to other places, and this was like a transit center back then. So I ran into a lot of guys that I met in the feds, and before I got to Atlanta, which was guys from Miami, Florida, and Atlanta guys. They really knew they didn't get along, but you had a lot of guys. I met Don King and Hollywood and big. Forgot the other guy name, man. He was real big in Atlanta, and I heard everybody pretty much got out. But one thing about USP Atlanta, man, it's a sleeper. And if you don't know what you're doing, the Cubans had just got through burning the place up a few years ago, and they put it back together. They had cleaned it out for a few years, and Cubans really did a job on the prison. They did a job on the Unicors, and they had the FBI come in, and they had to shut the whole thing down and negotiate to get certain prisoners out of there. They got Silverstein up out of there, and they got him. That was one of the negotiations they had to do to get to take the prison over and to get the guy Silverstein because he was a cop killer, and they wanted him first before they negotiated with anybody. So what they did was they told him, "Y'all give us him, and we would start negotiating." And that was when I got there. It was like just start, get the prison back to normal. And there was a lot of women worked there. They had some good food. They had a lot of activities going on. They had a lot of pictures in the NAACP. And this is the first time I met one of the most powerful lawyers in Atlanta, which is Marsha Sheen. And she came in there to the library and talked to us. How could we be able to hire her? She was really expensive, but she was saying with so much stuff going on in Atlanta, it's hard to beat cases in Atlanta. But just to talk about this USP, man, they had one of the biggest weight piles that I ever seen. They had they were selling hot stuff, $35 a bottle. They had a big store. They had a big Unicore. They had a big laundry. They had a big kitchen. And this is one of the places that I went, and I used to always go over to the new arrivals into the big thing. It was big C house, and because I was an orderly in A house. First level was regular guys. Second level was Muslims, and the third level was all gangsters. And I went up there one day, man, and I never heard of this game called Georgia Skin. This is one of the first times I ever heard about a game called Georgia Skin, and it's played ruthless and it's very dangerous. And the guy that I remember his name because his cousin was in our unit. His name was Tommy Cutter, and I seen him bring the guy downstairs. He was purple, he was dead, and they say he got killed over $2. And that's when I knew that I was in a place where these guys do not play fair. USP Atlanta was one of the most dangerous prisons I've been to into 93, 94. It was real dangerous. They had money on the compound change. So you had money, and when you have money, you have a lot of gambling, you have a lot of things going on. But USP Atlanta, man, I never forget it. I was still young, and I was, just being shipped around to different prisons, and it was a little bit of everything going on. But today, USP Atlanta, I don't know if it's the same, but I don't know who's the majority down there. But back then, it was Florida and Miami, and a little bit of Atlanta, and they didn't get along. And anybody that wanted to play sports against the Florida and Miami guys, they had some of the biggest guys I ever seen in my life playing sports, and they let to play baseball, football, and basketball. And just to talk about USP Atlanta, one of the most dangerous prisons in the United States, USP Atlanta.